Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mattie and Liamo. Today, right now it is just me. Liam has left the building. Wouldn't Liam make a great Lex Luthor? We talked about that earlier. It's the bald head and stuff. I think that would really do a good job. Kind of just rambling on as we do it, but yeah. So this episode of Mattie and Liamo is going to be about the movies that we feel were completely spoiled. Oh my God, he's back! Completely spoiled by their DVD covers. So, and the gas thing was, I went on this big segue about how it was just me and you had fucked off and stuff.
Sorry about that.
And I was even like, wouldn't they make a great Lex Luthor and stuff? Like, it was just completely nothing to do with the video. And then as soon as I started intro and the actual thing we were doing, it was like, alright, I'm back. Alright, what's the crack?
Oh, jeez.
Grand, fuck it, that's the intro. Cue music. Top 3 movies that were spoiled by the DVD cover.
Great example, the original Planet of the Apes has a picture of the Statue of Liberty, like on its side, on a beach. So you're like, okay, the Planet of the Apes is Earth. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, my number 3 is a film that I suppose you could argue it doesn't really spoil it, but you could say, but in a way it kind of does. It's Shawshank Redemption.
Oh,
the cover for that DVD is
Tim Robbins out in the rain.
And Tim Robbins out in the rain like that.
Yeah.
It's very obvious that he does eventually escape from prison.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've never seen the film, you're going to say, well, maybe you wouldn't put 2 and 2 together. But, I mean, it's nighttime, it's lashing rain. I doubt in a prison yard they'd be allowed out the yard lashing rain. So I think that kind of gives away the end of the movie, that he does escape.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, I didn't think.
And I only thought of it when you came to me with this idea for this video.
Yeah.
Like, pick a film. I looked at the Shawshank Redemption DVD cover. Just for some reason, I think it popped up on my Facebook page. It popped up and was like, geez, is that a massive spoiler for that film? So yeah, Shawshank Redemption is my number 3. It just gives away Andy Dufresne's escape from prison.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it might not
to the effect of the movie.
Yeah, to the casual observer, it probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
But to the likes of you and I, deep thinkers. So anyway, my number 3 is a DVD that I have here, but it's not the cover that is normally. I don't know why it's got a different cover. The Host, which we've spoken about before, South Korean monster movie.
That's the only cover I've seen for that film.
Really? Because the only one I've ever seen is the one where it's got the sea, right? And there's a big tentacle coming out, and it has the little girl in the school uniform.
No,
right?
That's the only one I've ever seen for that.
And it's pulling her down into the water. Now, the thing about it is, that's early on in the film, that scene.
Yeah.
But you don't expect it to happen. She's the main young girl, and the film follows the kind of the life of the guy, and this is his daughter.
Yeah.
I think the mother died some years previous. But this monster attacks this city, and the crowd is fleeing, and he's fleeing, and he's running along with his. Actually, you haven't seen this film. I don't want to spoil it for you.
No, it's fine.
Basically,
it won't bother my enjoyment of it.
You really, really don't think the monster's going to get the girl, and then something happens that I'm not going to spoil for you, and it's like, holy shit, he got the girl. Fucking girl is dead. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a huge. It's early on in the film, so it's kind of not right to call it a twist, but it's a heartbreaking moment, genuinely heartbreaking moment. Your heart is in your throat when it happens, but it's on the cover. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Shocking. So we'll move on to my number 2. My number 2 is kind of an obscure one, not something that most people would put together. Also something that is not really applicable if you've seen the films in the cinema or if you've read the books. It's The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Now, if you're a kid, say 10 or 11, who's only watching these movies for the first time, which a lot of people, I suppose, nowadays are only seeing these movies for the first time. Obviously, Gandalf, you are led to believe, dies in the first one.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you're watching these on DVD nowadays, and you sit down, you pop in Fellowship of the Ring, you watch it, shit, Gandalf's dead, fuck, he's died, what the hell's going on? Then you pick up the case for number 2, and who's sitting on the cover of the case? Gandalf the White. Just sitting there. So it kind of ruins the fact that Gandalf comes back and that he kind of defeats the Balrog and things like that. So it spoils a major part of the movie that Gandalf comes back to life.
Hugely. And that's a really good choice, because it doesn't just spoil that movie, it spoils the entire trilogy. Because if you, let's say you had never seen those films and you bought those 3 DVDs, you're sitting there and you watch the bit where he dies in the first film and you're like, but he's on the cover of the second one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
So you're kind of just waiting for it to happen.
Even if they showed him, because I mean, obviously he's all in the white when you first see him when he comes back, but then he starts wearing the grey robes again. If they had shown a picture of him like that, you could nearly excuse it because you could say maybe this is a flashback.
Flashback, yeah.
Or whatever, some narrative reason for it, you know. But to show him in his new form, spoiler.
Like in evolved Pokemon, show him in his new form.
I was going to make some joke Gandalf uses, and I was going to say some power. It's super effective. But, like, what powers does he ever use? His torch? Like, his torch and his basically force push.
So, anyway, what's your number 2, Liam?
My number 2 is, again, the DVD I have doesn't have the right cover. The cover that I'm going to criticise.
Okay.
Hancock. I don't think we've ever discussed Hancock.
We haven't, but I know what you're going to say.
Do you?
I think I know what you're going to say. Because I've seen an alternative cover to that.
Again, this was something I spotted on the way into the film, on a poster in the cinema. Basically, I think the other cover is pretty much exactly like that, but behind them is Charlize Theron.
Yes.
And she's not wearing her regular clothes, she's wearing, like, badass black clothes. She looks like a badass. And I remember walking in, because the trailers for Hancock, you know he's basically an alternative Superman. He's a superhero, famous, he doesn't have a secret identity, he just flies around looking like a bum. And that's what it's going to be about. It's like again, flip side of the coin for Superman. It's an antidote for Superman. It's just a light-hearted, this is what would happen if a superhero had real human faults. And then there's a bad guy in it. There's an antagonist and what have you. So that makes the film a little bit more interesting. But when you watch the film back, that's really just a side story. What makes that film interesting is the relationship between Hancock and Charlize Theron and Jason Bateman.
Yes.
That's why I enjoy that film. I just love what's going on there with that triangle.
The dynamic.
But anyway, big twist. And if you haven't seen the film, don't listen to the next 10 seconds of this video. The big twist is Charlize Theron is also a superhero. Mm-hmm. And on the poster and on the other DVD cover, she looks like a fucking superhero in the background. And I just think it's completely unnecessary. I mean, it's called Hancock. It's about Hancock. We don't need to see the twist in the background. That Charlize Theron is also the only other superhuman on the planet.
Yeah. And with that cover, it's almost like someone just at the half-heartedly or just towards the end of the marketing or the production of the DVD cases, just turned and said, "Do you know what, Charlize Theron's in this film, maybe we should throw a bit of eye candy on the cover."
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
weird.
But they could have put her and Jason Bateman in the background and make her look like the hot housewife that she is. They didn't have to use that picture of her looking like a superhero. Dickheads.
They would have got the desired reaction and still kept the twist of the movie completely under wraps. So my number 1 choice for top movie that kind of spoils the ending with the DVD cover, The Truman Show. Now, there are 2 covers to this.
The only cover I can think of is where he's on the giant screen, asleep.
There's 2. There's that one, and then there's also the one where you see him standing on the platform. So you know, just as he, if spoiler
the
is
steps.
The Truman Show. Yeah, where he walks through the door.
Yeah.
You know, when he kind of hits the wall.
Yeah.
There's a cover where he's standing there like this.
Right.
On that, and the door's open behind him.
Oh, that's bullshit. I've never seen that cover.
It very clearly shows his escape.
Yeah. It's almost identical to Shawshank.
Yeah.
Identical in the way that if you haven't seen the film, it's hard to imagine what's going on in that still. What's he doing standing on those steps? Anything could be happening, really. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't read into things, it probably wouldn't bother you. But if you have half a brain in your head, you'd be looking at it saying, like, I thought this film was about a guy who thinks he's leading an ordinary life. This doesn't look very ordinary. What's this area with steps and a dark door? And who's he looking up at?
Yes. Yeah. And why does the sky have a door in it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's
so
bad.
yeah, it's just something that I thought was it's a terrible spot for such an unbelievable, like, that movie is brilliant. You know what I mean? It's a fucking beautiful movie.
It is.
And Jim Carrey's amazing in it. And just to see it kind of ruined like that, it's kind of like fuck.
Completely unnecessary.
So that's my top 3: Shawshank Redemption, Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, and The Truman Show. So drum roll. Liam, you're number 1. That was a terrible drum roll.
I picked out a few. I had a few in my head that I just know have always annoyed me. Hancock has always annoyed me from day one. What I did is I went through all my DVDs and I pulled them out and I looked at them. I particularly picked out ones that had twists, you know. Mm-hmm. This one hasn't really got a twist, but it's a blatant great example of a movie being spoiled with a cover. Gremlins. The thing about Gremlins is it's that perfect thing they used to do. They don't do it so much anymore. Where, I'm going to say the monster, but even before the monster, just Gizmo himself in his Mogwai form. You don't see that for like half an hour or something into the film. You would not see that these days. If that film was made these days, he'd be in the fourth scene. Okay? There's a great build up to him. You see silhouettes of him, you can kind of make him out in the box, what have you. He comes out of the box really slowly. And it's how they did it back then, and it's partly down to the fact that they can't afford special effects and it's hard to do the puppetry and what have you, so what few scenes they have, they want to make the most of them. But I like that, and I wish there was more of that these days, more build up. Like the Hulk, one of the Hulk films, I think it was the second Hulk film, there was this complaint that you don't see the Hulk for 40 minutes. I love that about that film.
Yeah.
I love that, because it's called build up, people. Build up.
It's also showing the internal struggle of Bruce Banner trying to control this monster, but that's something for another video. Exactly.
Yeah. But the thing is with the Gremlins, right? There's then a twist. I mean, obviously you know there's going to be a twist, because it gets mentioned in the first 5 minutes. You know, no sunlight, no food after 12, no water. Okay, so you know something's going to happen, right? Shit's going to go down. Then you see the monster version of the Gremlin, and that's the big twist. Holy shit! This really cute Pokemon-esque creature can turn into this horrible fucking goblin. It's a great twist. It's great because that's who would think of that? You have this gorgeous little pet that's so lovable, but one little mistake, and you've got like thousands of monsters on your hands. There's the cover.
Jesus.
You don't even fucking see Gizmo. You don't even see him as a Mogwai. You straight away just see the monster. That's retarded.
I know. It's just there's no. I suppose it also is to do with the application of special effects. There's no focus on story most of the time. Like, I mean, you have films that are story driven, but like blockbusters and stories with effects, there is no, like you said, there's no focus on story. It's all about showing stuff as soon as you can. One of the reasons I love the Godzilla marketing campaign is that they haven't shown Godzilla yet. They've shown shadows and glimpses and little parts of him, but they haven't shown the monster yet, and I love that. I think it's a great way they're doing it.
It is.
But that just comes back to what you're saying about Gremlins, that, you know, that is such a massive spoiler for a movie that needs to be experienced. Do you know what I mean? And that's part of it. That's why the movie is so good, I think, is because you're being built up to that.
Even if they showed Gizmo on the cover, I'd still have a problem with that. Like you can see the way he's ripping through the poster there. Poster is obviously, you can just see Gizmo's paws on the side of the shoebox, which he's never in the shoebox, by the way. That never happens in the film, but that's besides the point. But even that would be a grand cover, because it has this element of mystery. You don't know, what's in the box? Something with little paws and little stubby little fingers. That'd be a great cover. Yeah. This fucking bullshit poking out. Wankbags.
Thanks for watching, guys. This has been our top 3 movies that were spoiled by their covers. We talked about movies such as Shawshank Redemption, Gremlins, The Truman Show, The Host. We hope you enjoyed the video. We hope you found it entertaining. And if you have any movies that you think were spoiled by the DVD covers, leave a nice comment down below. We probably won't reply. We're busy men. We've got stuff to do, people to see, women to violently make love to. So hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment. Thanks very much. Talk to you later. Bye.